Hello again, Jack and Jill motorcycle out there in YouTube land. I'm Wes. I'm here again in my shed because sometimes your bike doesn't break down where there's a lift handy, and my bike is broken down right now. It's not completely dead. It's in a version of what a lot of people call limp mode, in that it will only rev to about 4,000 RPM and then it feels like it's hitting the rev limiter. There's some other symptoms. There's a burning sensation and a sense of shame. But beyond that, that's enough reason to plug the bike into, oh, and the engine light came on, which is never a good thing. So I plugged my GS-911 diagnostic tool into the appropriate port. This is my GS-911. There is the appropriate port. I'll take a picture and show you so you can see it clearly. And I got a code back, two codes actually, that tell me that there is a problem with the camshaft position sensor, which in the industry, as I've learned, is known as the CMP. They use an M because if you just say CPS, it could mean either camshaft position sensor or crankshaft position sensor. So the camshaft position sensor is known as the CMP, and the crankshaft position sensor is known as the CKP, so that anybody can tell those two things apart when they're reading or talking about them. The camshaft position sensor is a fairly important piece of the system. It's part of the electrical system, of course, and it pokes in through the bottom of the cylinder, and I'll show you a picture of that too before we get going. And what it does is it literally reads the position of the camshaft. What that does is facilitate the proper timing for the spark, and it helps determine the mapping for your fuel injection. So when that sensor goes bad or gets caked with crud, which would be bad, and you would know that, we'll see it when I take it out. If it's caked with crud. If it's caked with crud, that's bad because that means internal pieces of the engine are coming apart and it's got a magnet inside the sensor, and therefore attracting the metal would be bad, but the metal is what's bad. So hopefully it's just a failed sensor. And what I should have done was, as soon as I had the problem, I should have put my 911 on it, but I had stuff to do and I was gone. And then the next day was Sunday. And of course, you can't call any motorcycle dealership really on a Sunday. I had to wait until Tuesday, today, to order the part. Now, I did what is called a VOR request, which means vehicle off-road, because I have a time crunch. I'm supposed to go on a trip this coming Friday, just 3 days from now. And if I can't get my bike fixed, I gotta take the airhead, which not a terrible option, but it's not what I want to do for this trip. I pay extra to get the overnight shipping. The part should arrive tomorrow and I can replace it. Now, to get to your diagnostic port on the 2015 R1200GS, all you need is a T25 driver, and you take off the battery cover. So you just pop out the diagnostic port, pull it out, plug your GS-911 in, and then you can turn on the bike, read the codes, clear the codes, which is what I'm going to do, and then proceed with your repair. You really only have to worry about a serious problem if, once you've done the repair, the check engine light comes back on. So I've also got a little video of how it was running before all this, when all this started, and I'll play that for you now. It's not a terribly involved process. Replacing the camshaft position sensor is something that pretty much anybody can do. You only need a few tools, and none of them are complicated, but you do need to remember to have a tray to catch some oil, because some oil will fall out. And you also have to have a way to put oil back into your engine, because it is enough that it might matter. So we're gonna get on with that, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit like and subscribe and do all those things for the YouTube algorithm gods, and I appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the MOA and all of these videos that we're able to provide for you. You wouldn't know this, but it's the day after I started making this video, and now I've got everything that I need to go forward. The camshaft position sensor, or CMP, And along with it, I have a new rubber O-ring. I have a pair of wire cutters so I can cut the existing zip tie. I have a zip tie so I can replace the existing zip tie. I have a T30 bit so I can remove the bolt that secures it, and I have my inch-pound torque wrench so that I can put it back to 8 Newton meters where it belongs. I have a flathead screwdriver. This is actually a keyhole screwdriver to help me pry the old sensor out of its hole. It's supposed to be in there very tight thanks to the rubber O-ring. I have a glove to help keep myself from getting too messy. And I have a tray to catch the oil that comes out when I pull out the sensor. I also have my receipt from buying the parts because I can submit this for my 10% parts rebate thanks to the MOA, because both things that I bought are official BMW parts. So I consider this an essential part of the process. Now I'm going to actually do the stuff. So we'll see how it goes. All right, first things first, we gotta cut that zip tie. I'm gonna cut the end of it off to make sure that I'm not cutting the wire itself. And the reason you cut the zip tie first is because there's not really enough room to get the wire off unless the zip tie's cut. So now I'm going to take the wire off. I'm going to use the zip tie as a probe because this has a little flap on it that secures the thing. So you want to just get that up a little bit, and then you can pull out the connector. So you just wedge that under there, and then the connector comes out, and that looks nice and clean. Now I'm going to take off the bolt. Like I said, make sure I'm in lefty-loosey. I think I got enough. No, I don't need an extension. It's also not terribly difficult to, it's only in there at 8 Newton meters, so it shouldn't be difficult to get off. Okay, we're reusing the bolt, so keep track of that. And now's when it starts to run the risk of getting messy. So I'm going to tuck the wire out of the way. Get the screwdriver in there. And don't pry too hard because you don't want to damage the... Okay, I can see oil starting to come out. So now I'm going to see if I can hold the pan with one hand. There we go. So I made a little bit of a mess, but it's not too terrible. And other than the initial gush, it's pretty easy to control. So there's the sensor, and I can see that it's not covered with a bunch of metal junk, and that's good because it does have has a magnet inside it. And if it was covered with metal, then that would be indicative, excuse me, that something else is going wrong with the engine on the inside. There's the new parts. That's got a handy little tab on it. It comes in one of these anti-static bags because it is technically an electrical part. There's the new one, just like the old one. We're going to put the O-ring on it. That was pretty handy. The new O-ring is also green, and now I got to wipe it off because I just dropped it in the dirt. I'm also going to put some oil on it and put it into place. And that O-ring is important, and the reason why you want to put some oil on it is because it's sealing against oil. You want to have just a little bit of oil on it to start with. Looks like we're about done draining. Might be helpful if I had a cleaner rag, that's for sure. This has got to be the greasiest clean rag I've got. And I'll tell you, this working on the ground stuff is for the birds. But when stuff like this happens at home, you don't have access to your lift. All right, that looks like I got it. do when I start the engine, I'll get down here and look to see if it's leaking oil. And we got our torque wrench set to 8 Newton meters. Okay, there we're at 8 Newton meters. Plug in the wire. And I'm gonna hold off on, first I'm gonna make sure I can get the zip tie through there. Yes, I can. But I'm gonna hold off on securing the wire until I've started the engine. Okay, we're watching the dash right here for the little yellow angry light to come back on. No little yellow angry light, hooray! Now let's get back down and check for an oil leak. I don't see any leaking oil, do you? Zip tie on. I'm letting it warm up a little because I want to test Ooh, it gets hot under here fast. Whenever I replace a zip tie, if it doesn't really matter, I like to make it a different color because that reminds me later on that I've replaced it. So one of the things that was the symptoms of that failed sensor felt like it was hitting the rev limiter at about 4,000 RPM. So now that it's warmed up a little, let's rev it and see what happens. I fixed it. So not very much oil came out. You saw it. It ends up being about 4 ounces that came out. So I could probably get away with not putting it back in, but I'm going to put it back in. So once again, that was the camshaft position sensor replacement. And let's take a good close look at this thing. It doesn't look like very much. It's got a little fuzz on it because I've been hitting it with a rag, but there's a little gap there. The O-ring is just an O-ring, and that probably went on the bike when it was built in 2015. And like I said, inside it's got a magnet up here, and then a post sticks down that's got copper wires around it, and there's a toothed gear in the cylinder that as it goes past it registers, and at one point in the gear there's a big gap, a bigger gap, and when that gap goes by it sends a signal to the bike's computer to tell it that that gap went by, and that's how it knows where the camshaft is. One bolt, one little wire connector, and an O-ring, and there you go. Now I don't need to hang on to the old one, but I'm going to anyways because that's the kind of person I am. And someday I might be able to figure out why it went bad if I get a chance to open it up. But who knows if that day ever comes. Probably what'll happen is I will end up holding on to this for 10 or 15 years, wondering why I did that, and then throwing it out. In the meantime, now the bike is fixed. I'm gonna take it for a test ride. It's a beautiful day, but that means I gotta go put on shoes and socks and a helmet and all sorts of other stuff, and I'll just ride around the neighborhood for about 10 minutes to make sure that the fix really sticks and that no oil is coming out once I'm riding it at sustained speed and the oil really gets up to temperature. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned a little something. I know I did. I'm happy to pass that little bit of knowledge on to you. Most of the modern bikes have camshaft position sensors in them, and of course the only one I know how to replace now is the one that's on mine. But if you've got a modern BMW, chances are you've got a camshaft position sensor too. So if you experience symptoms like I did, the rough idle, the hard to start and the getting to a point in the rev range where it feels like you've hit the rev limiter and there's no reason you should have, where it kind of behaves like it's in limp mode, then you might have a bad camshaft position sensor. Hook up a diagnostic reader to the system, check out the error codes, and replace the thing that the error codes tell you to replace. So it's been a journey. Thanks a lot to Morton's Motorcycles, and of course the BMW North America Parts Warehouse, who got me the part overnight so that I can take my trip in 2 days, just like I planned. My backup plan was to take my /6, and if that was going to be the case, then I would have spent tomorrow on the floor in the shed, changing the oil and doing a bunch of other stuff on that, and then taking it over to my friend Steve's house for tires, because the tires on it probably don't have 1,000 miles left in them. So thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the MOA. Thank you for being a member. If you're not a member, it's easy to join and support videos like this and all of the digital offerings that we have, including a bunch of podcasts and new podcast, Oilhead 259, and the one that spawned it, Airhead 247. Great stuff right here on YouTube. So check it out. And don't forget to do your rebate.